Hello! In this video we're going to take a look at our Trying Hornby Flying Scotsman restoration project. As you can see, we've already dismantled the Flying Scotsman. We've taken off the front bogie as well as the rear bogie, and this is easily done. There's just a set of screws to do that. This is an item that we bought off of eBay about a year ago, and it's laid around for a while. It's been one of those projects that I haven't had time to get to. So I had a chance to look at it over the weekend, and we've been making some good progress on it. There were a couple of problems with it. First of all, it wouldn't run at all. So what I did was I actually dismantled the pistons here, and I discovered that this particular part right here was actually bent, and there was also a tiny crack that you couldn't see right here down the center that was causing the piston here to pop out of the thing when it went forwards. It worked fine in reverse, but anytime it went forward, this particular piece here would pop out and it would cause it to derail. So we took this apart, undid this screw here. Unfortunately, this screw is very small, so I ended up having to use the small blade off a penknife to actually unscrew it. But it was pretty easy. This screw comes off, and then this piece here comes off, and then there's another piece next to it underneath and a small bolt. So what we did was we removed that, we straightened this, cleaned out the pistons as much as possible, and we put it back on the track, and it ran fine without these connected, but whenever these went in, going forwards, this would pop out. You can still see it's a little bit bent, but we got it about as straight as possible using a pliers. Once we got it straight though, what was happening was when it ran backwards, it would squeak a little bit, and what was actually happening was it was putting more pressure on this section here, and the crack just got bigger and bigger, and eventually it popped apart. So to fix that, we took the screw out that was here and basically glued the pieces back together. So this side and this side were actually separated. So we glued them together, and then put the screw in and glued the screw into the base. Do was to fix the wiring. So there's a couple of points where we had to resolder. The actual brush here was installed behind a lip. There's a little metal piece that goes in behind the brush here, and that was connecting to the firebox, and this little wire or kind of fork here that puts pressure on the brush to keep it up against the motor. It basically was not putting enough pressure against the motor, so even though the firebox was lighting, it wasn't making connection with the brush in order to turn the motor. So we just simply took this this part of the brush out, took the metal piece out, put the brush back in, put the little connector clip behind it, and used the pressure of the fork there to make it snap back into place. So aside from that, it runs pretty well. We went and straightened the piston, like I said. We glued this, and we fixed this up. So one of the other things I wanted to look at was the tender. So the tender has this sound system. It's pretty old, but basically, if you see here on the last set of axles here, before the back of the tender, there's a little metal piece, and this metal piece touches off this box, and it makes a train type noise. I think it's supposed to make a kind of steam engine kind of noise. That's not too bad considering its age. So the problem was this wasn't working, and the reason this wasn't working was this little clip here wasn't in place. It was actually popped out of here. If you see here, it goes into a spot, into a slot. So it popped out of the slot, and it was over to lift a bit to the side, so it wasn't making contact with the piece underneath, and so it wasn't making any noise. So one of the other problems we had, this obviously had been in somebody's attic for quite some time. You can see it was pretty rusted. In fact, when I opened it up, there was a nice collection of dead spiders in there as well. So what we're going to do is going to take some glue gun and just clean this up a little bit, clean off some of the rust, and put the box back on it, and we'll reassemble the Flying Scotsman and see if it works when it's all put back together. So, as you've probably seen this in previous videos, it's our glue gun. You can use any kind of cleaning solution, but glue gun seems to work pretty well for me. And we'll just put that on to a Q-tip, and we're just want to get any kind of surface dirt off of there. Try to protect it from spewing rust everywhere. And you're not going to get this totally rust free, but as you can see, it's picking up all the surface dirt. And we'll do that with the plastic area as well, just to get it clean. It's probably hasn't been cleaned in a couple of decades, so we'll clean that off. Like so. And we'll just take the other side. You can see it's still picking up quite a good bit of dirt. And safe enough to do this, the glue gun is going to evaporate, and this part of the tender isn't visible anyway, so if it discolors it, I'm not going to be too upset. Okay, so with that done, we're going to put the glue gun away. And so we're going to reassemble the tender, and this is a pretty simple process. So here you can see that it's lined up correctly. You have the pin in behind the metal piece on the axle. It's making the correct noise. So the next thing we're going to do is line up the thing correctly, and we'll screw it in. Okay, and it's looking pretty good. So the next thing we're going to do is reassemble the actual locomotive itself. Now, you'll have to bear with me here because it's been a while since I've actually done this. Let's see if I'm smart enough to figure it out. I believe that's where it goes. So you see here, there's a hole right here, and the rear bogie slides in under like so. Now the question is which, I think it's this one that we use. May not be that screw. Like I said, it's been a while since I've done this. Looks like it fits a bit better. we have the same problem we have with the other set of screws, so I'm going to end up using the penknife here instead. Make sure it still moves around properly. Okay, and so we'll do the same thing with the front bogie here. And the front bogie, and as you can see, looks good. And so last but not least, we'll put the chassis back on. Hopefully without too many problems. See, the chassis actually has to fit through the front thing. Fits in the front right there. And drops in like so. And there you have it. And there you have it. The Flying Scotsman hopefully has been fully restored. So we're going to go test it on the track. And so we have it on the track. It's time to give it a quick test.